special angles. This lesson focuses on special angle 45 degrees. We'll have some other special angles, the 30 degrees and 60 degrees. Okay, now you know that the sum of angle in a triangle sum up to 180 degrees. Now if this is 90, you know this box indicates 90 and here is 45. It means that here as well is also 45 degrees. Okay, now to derive the basic trig ratio for a special angle, that is 45 degrees, we assume here to be 1 and this place as well to be 1. So remember, you have various sides. You have this longest side as the hypotenuse. Now if this is our reference angle, here becomes what? The opposite, and this other part become what? The adjacent, if we use here as the reference angle. Okay, now we know about the, what is it called, the sides, but we don't know the hypotenuse. So what can we use to fix that when we know the sides and don't know the hypotenuse? We can use the Pythagoras rule or theorem. So using Pythagoras rule, let's fix this. We have that hypotenuse squared is equal to, we can say, opposite squared plus adjacent squared. Now it says the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the square sum of the two other sides. So we don't know our hypotenuse, we can just call it x squared is equal to, opposite is 1 squared plus adjacent is also 1 squared. X squared is equal to 1 squared is 1 plus 1 squared is also 1. So x squared is equal to 1 plus 1 is what? Is 2. What can we do? Because we have a square here, we'll take square root of both sides. So x squared, take the square root, and then square root of 2. Now the squares and the square root cancel away, so x is equal to root 2. So it simply means that the value here is root 2. Okay, now let's derive the trigonometric ratio for the sine, the cos, and tan. Remember, we always refer back to SOHCAHTOA, right? So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So let's say sine 45 degrees is equal to what? Opposite over hypotenuse. What's the opposite for this? Opposite is 1 over hypotenuse, so 1 over root 2. But then you cannot have a surd under. You can check out for the lesson on rationalization of surds. So we multiply by surd 2 over surd 2. Okay, there is a link below for the lesson on surd. Click that link to understand how this works. So let's continue. If we should do that here, we'll have that 1 multiplied by surd 2 is surd 2 over surd 2 multiplied by surd 2 is just 2. That is a rule we are working with. Okay, like for instance, now if you, let's explain this better. This becomes 2 times 2, right? Which is surd 4. And what is surd 4? Square root of 4 is 2. So that's it. We've solved for sine, right? Let's as well solve for cos and tan. For cos 45 degrees is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, right? Let's check adjacent and let's check it and then come back to this. So from the diagram you can see that the adjacent is 1 and hypotenuse is surd 2, right? So adjacent is 1 over hypotenuse surd 2. So same thing is happening. So we still okay, yes, so multiply by surd 2 because you can't have a surd under. 1 times surd 2 is just surd 2 over 2. Let's do that of tan. Tan 45 degrees here is equal to opposite over adjacent, and let's see, this one is quite simple. Now you see that opposite is what? 1, adjacent is also 1, so we just have 1 over 1, like 1 over 1, and at the end tan 45 degrees is equal to just 1, and we are done. Quite simple. You can pause the lesson and go through it again if you had any difficulty for what we just did. Okay, so for the value of the unknown, now this is 45. Now sum of angle in a triangle is 280. It means that here is 45 degrees as well. So if you add everything up, 45, 45, and then add up to 90, gives you 180. And that's it. Okay, you want to solve for the value of x, you just have to pay attention to every detail here. So this is the hypotenuse, you know that, and this is the opposite. This is a reference angle, and this is what is it called, the adjacent. But then you know something about this. This, since the angles are 45, it means these both places are just x, so they are the same thing because they are 45, 45. If you check, we had 1 and then we had, what is it called, we had what's it called, our hypotenuse. So let's continue. So for us to get this, since we have, let's say we have opposite and hypotenuse, you can just write and you can just remember your mnemonic sukatua. We're looking for what will give us opposite and hypotenuse. So opposite hypotenuse is this one is adjacent hypotenuse, but if you are referencing from here, it becomes adjacent and hypotenuse. But let's use sine since you are referencing from here, opposite hypotenuse. So sine 45 degrees is equal to, here they said what, x, right, over 6. But we know that the standard for sine 45 is what? Let me just draw that. Let me draw another rectangle here. Just manage my diagram. So this is 45 degrees, 45 degrees. We just solved it now, right? So this is 1 1 and this is sort 2. We just did it right now. So sine is what? Let's use here as reference, opposite of hypotenuse. So I have 1 over sort 2. That's the standard format. So what do? From here, since we have equivalent fractions that are equal to themselves, so we cross multiply. So I got this from this place, and then I use the standard to derive this other aspect of this, and we just solved this couple of minutes ago, and that's just it. So if we cross multiply here, we have for this one, x times 12 is equal to s times, sorry, sort 2 and I'm saying 12. X times sort 2 is equal to 6 times 1. X times sort 2 is x sort 2 is equal to 6 times 1 is just 6. So now you have, what is it called, a variable and its coefficient. Its coefficient is what? Sort 2. So you're going to divide both sides. This can also be written as sort 2x equal to 6. So you're going to divide both sides by sort 2 to make sure the x stand alone. You want to make sure the unknown is standing alone independently. So we divide both sides by sort 2. So x sort 2 divided by this sort 2, and then 6 over sort 2. So the sort 2's cancel out here, and then x is equal to 6 over sort 2. You can't have a sort under, so 6 over sort 2 multiplied by sort 2 over sort 2. Now what do? 6 times sort 2 is 6 sort 2 all over sort 2 times sort 2 is just 2. Okay, we're almost done, just a little patient. Let's continue from here because we don't have any other space there, but if you want to write, just write it straight. Okay, here 2 here is 1, just cancel out, and 2 here is what? 3. So you are left with what? X is equal to 3 sort 2, and you are done. Now the major thing here is that you cannot have a sort under. That's why we just have to make sure we divide both sides by, we multiply both sides by that same sort again, so that we can cancel the sort out there. So that's just it. This question looks a little bit challenging, but I think you need to just pause this and go through it again to be clear, and then we'll have another question to solve. Maybe that will help you understand better. So let's solve the second question, and then I believe you will understand better this time around. Okay, we'll have the hypotenuse again, so just pay attention to the hypotenuse, and then the adjacent, right? We are referencing from here. You know here is 45 as well, so even if you do that, it wouldn't change anything. So it means that this part is also 10, because 45, 45, these are an isosceles triangle. They will have same length. The same angle having same length. Okay, using SOHCAHTOA, which of these trigonometric ratios have adjacent and hypotenuse? Adjacent hypotenuse is cos, that is cos. So cos 45 degrees is equal to adjacent to hypotenuse, which is 10 over y. right, is equal to using the standard we had developed before about this. Okay, don't mind my diagram. This is 45 degrees and this is also 45 degrees. No, this is sort 2, this is 1, and this is 1. So if I use cos here, cos is adjacent 1 over sort 2, so 1 over sort 2. We cross multiply, so cross multiplying 10 times sort 2 is equal to y multiplied by 1. 10 times sort 2 is 10 sort 2 is equal to y multiplied by 1 is just y, and we are done. So this one, we didn't have anything to solve, nothing much, just for us to understand how these things works. You put the right distance down, get the standard format, cross multiply, and we are done. So it's not difficult. Okay, we are done with the lesson on special angles. You have a task to do. Just follow the examples I had solved, and then you can actually beat this question. So this is the first task and this is second task. Very simple. You can just pause the video to take down the question and then solve them. So very simple. Thank you so much for watching. Do well to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Join us next time.